Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode for the Coaching Conversations podcast. Now, we are on Stitcher, we are on iTunes, and multiple different channels. Please check us out. Now, one of the things that you'll get out of our podcast episodes is a lot of content, a lot of strategy. It's not fluff, it's not concept, yet we really want you to engage with the content and let us know your feedback. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If there's topics you'd love to have us address, we would love to share them with you. Let us know your impact and let us know your feedback. So how do we have conversations of conflict? First of all, I think we have to reframe our relationship with conflict. Confronting is nothing more than building awareness in an uncomfortable area where somebody has an opportunity to improve. See, when we confront, if I confront somebody because I'm upset, that will lead to an argument. Now, if I confront somebody in the frame of mind that I have an opportunity to build awareness where somebody might have a blind spot, then my disposition, my approach has a better chance of being accepted. Number two, when we approach people, one of the best things we can do is something we teach called the permission plus the sword. Bob, would you mind if I shared with you a perspective where I think we could work more effectively together? Notice the we. Now that's the permission part. The sword is, and I'd love to hear from you because the last thing I want to do is make assumptions of where you're coming from because I think that would be horribly unfair to you. You ask for permission and then you use a phrase such as, I don't want to make assumptions of where you're coming from. And that's why I wanted to approach you because I think that would be unfair to you. Now you're owning why you're approaching the person. It's about you. It's not necessarily, at least not initially, about them. You're still having the conversation really embedded in conflict. And so when you ask for permission and someone says, well, okay, I mean, they're not going to love it. Yet the minute they invite the feedback, they can't say, well, I came out of the blue. He attacked me. And I'll give you a great example. I coached volleyball for a long time. And I had a friend in town who was talking to a parent. And the parent had come to me at practice 2 minutes before the start of practice, broke the rule of scheduling time with me, was really upset, was raising his voice. Before he even got to the verb, I knew he was upset. And I said, this is not the right time to talk about it. I request appointments, and the reason being is so I can have a proper frame of mind so we can have a really good discussion. He said, well, I don't have a lot of time. I said, so you're taking my time and the kids' practice time. Is that what you're demanding of me right now? Well, no. I said, great, let's revisit it. So we later got back together and he was still upset. And he later told my friend that I attacked him. And my friend said, well, where did the conversation take place? Well, I was at the gym. And he said, well, he called you in? Well, no, I just stopped by. It wasn't going to take long. And what he was doing is he was reacting. He was interpreting. He was articulating to my friend a very different version. See, he didn't offer those details because he was absolving himself of responsibility. So when you get permission, and when I finally met with him, I said, do I have your permission to be candid with you? He said, yes. I said, I need to ask you again. I'm going to be candid with you. And before I do that, are you aware that your son knows why he's not playing? And all of a sudden he looked at me stunned. He goes, he does? I said, we do one-on-ones with the boys every 2 weeks. Let me quote your son. Coach, I'm never going to crack the starting lineup. I get where I am. I love being a part of this team. Boom, argument over. He said, wow, I didn't know that. I said, I know. And he said, I'm really sorry. And I said, no, I'm happy. This is your kid. I get it. And he said, I really kind of came charging hard. I said, oh, I think you came very well charging hard. You didn't come kind of charging hard. And we both laughed. And in the moment, it dissipated. And I asked him for permission. I asked him for permission. Can I share your son's comments? And it diffused it. Conflict is wonderful. Most supportive parent through the years that his kid was in the program. So when we're asking for permission and we're throwing ourselves on the sword, so I don't make assumptions, listen, because the minute they say yes, you then offer and say, look, I'd love to hear from you. Conflict is not yelling, screaming, bloodshed. It is a cooperative language. It is a cooperative approach. And you want to position the person you're approaching to be comfortable to react, to receive. See, the goal of feedback, and I always love this, the goal of feedback is never to give feedback. The goal of feedback, especially with conflict, is to give it so somebody receives it well and strategically utilizes it. How often do we wait and wait and wait, and I've now got to have a conversation with Bob? And what do? We unload. Our emotion comes out. When your emotion is the focus and the message is lost, they'll never change. And quite frankly, your emotion will trigger their emotion, which becomes combustible. Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.